It's winter, you're going to want some all-wheel drive. So here are the best cars with four-wheel drive and over 200 horsepower that you can buy for less than £10,000. Let's get into it. We start with Volvo. In 2004, they took the S60, upgraded the 2.5 litre turbo engine to 300 horsepower and gave it a very clever all-wheel drive system in the hopes that this thing could keep up with an M3. Unfortunately, it could not keep up with an M3. But it's still a pretty cool car nonetheless, and it's a bit of a sleeper. It's not obvious that this is one of the fastest Volvos ever made. However, this is a pretty cool car, and they're still fairly cheap, but they are going up in price. Next up we have the Mitsubishi Legnum VR4. Now this rare imported car is basically perfect. 2.5 litre V6 up front, making 320 horsepower, sent to all four wheels via a 5-speed manual transmission, and it's also available in automatic. You can also get this as a saloon car, however, if you do that, it'll be called the Magnum. So this thing is really, really cool. I've always wanted one of these. I've always thought they looked fantastic, and they're basically the perfect daily. Now you can get these for less than 10 grand, but they are quite rare. Now a video about all-wheel drive cars would not be complete without a Subaru WRX. Now these cars are, well, they're a real cult classic at the moment. They always have been, especially these Hawkeye Imprezas. This is the one that was driven in Baby Driver, obviously. Now this thing is brilliant. 260 horsepower, all-wheel drive, manual gearbox, classic Subaru styling with a bonnet scoop, and basically you get a car that's at home both on the road and on the rally stage, and all of that for less than £10,000. Up next we've got the Audi S5. This big executive coupe was basically a B6 S4 with 3 doors, well 2 doors I mean. Anyway, you still get the same 4.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 producing 340 horsepower sent through all four wheels by a manual transmission and Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive system. So basically this is like a winter muscle car. I've always liked these, I think they look fantastic, and you can get them with a supercharged V6, which sounds great. And really good ones are available within budget. Or perhaps you want something that's a bit more restrained and a bit less thirsty. How about an Audi TTS? This car is basically a Volkswagen Golf R underneath. You can probably tell that from the quad tailpipes. And you can also tell that from the same Haldex all-wheel drive system as well as the DSG gearbox. However, with this car you don't look like a yob. You look like you bought something that looks generally respectable. This thing is a brilliant car, and honestly, I quite like it. I don't know why more people don't like the Audi TTS. These cars are starting to come down in price, they're becoming a lot more affordable, and at this time of year, I think an all-wheel drive sports car like this should be perfect. Now for something from Italy, the Alfa Romeo Brera. This is the Q4 with a 3.2 litre V6 mounted up front, making 250 horsepower and providing a lovely soundtrack from the back. This thing is brilliant. I really like the way this looks. However, I'm not sure about the reliability. I mean, it is an Alfa Romeo at the end of the day. They're not really known for reliability, neither are most General Motors vehicles, no offence. But this thing could be pretty cool, and for 10 grand you're actually going to get a really nice example of this car, so you probably shouldn't worry too much. Okay, look, hear me out. Yes, I'm a Mini owner, I'm biased, but this Mini in particular is the Countryman. Believe it or not, this car won the Dakar Rally 5 times, all for all-wheel drive system. This thing is actually a very capable car. Now, in terms of reliability, you're going to want to stay away from earlier models of this car. They have the notoriously unreliable B14 engine. You're going to want to look for cars with the B18 engine. That's a lot more reliable and just a much safer bet. Now, this car's actually a really good, small crossover, and it sounds pretty good too, and you can get a bit more power out of these things. They look nice, and you can actually get some pretty nice aftermarket goodies for these things. So now from Toyota we have the Toyota Celica GT4, the most powerful Toyota Celica. This has 240 horsepower, an all-wheel drive system, and a big turbo. And this car also famously pulled off one of the greatest cheats in automotive history. However, this is actually a pretty good car for the money, but they're not going to stay at this price point for very long, so if you do find a good one at this price point, act fast, because they're not going to be at this price point for very long. They are going up in value. Now, for Volkswagen, they've got their 4Motion all-wheel drive system, which they decided to put on their Passat R36, the largest VR6 engined car. I think that's correct, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. But this is a brilliant car, 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and you get the DSG gearbox, which is pretty responsive and is actually, this is a pretty tunable car. And don't forget, it's also available as an estate, which is very nice. You can also get it as a manual, which is pretty good. And it's, well, they're just around this price point. And as if by magic, we are back where we started in Sweden with the lovely Saab 9.5 Aero. This one has the 2.8 litre turbocharged V6 engine with an X-Drive all-wheel drive system. Now this thing is fairly similar to the Insignia VXR, but it's a bit more restrained and it's been detuned. Obviously you can add more power to these things, they're actually pretty solid engines. And it is a Saab, so you might have a bit of trouble finding parts.